Greetings from the Institute of Global Professional IGP Bangladesh. Greetings from the Institute of Global Professional IGP Bangladesh. Thank you all for joining us and staying with us to the end. Honorable Knowledge Seeker, today I am your host for the evening. My name is Badhun Das. I am from Bangladesh. Dear Knowledge Seeker, I am proud to be associated with IGP as a global member. IGP is a social and ISO certified international training institute. In 3 years, we already served 3 million plus knowledge seekers from 100 plus countries. IGP is internationally recognized and globally accredited. We are connected to more than 250 plus professions and 4,500 plus organizations. Institute of Global Professional IGP is a training faculty for skill development which was founded in 2020 and is generating competent candidates to meet demand in the global labor market by providing professional qualification. The Institute of Global Professional is an education institute that provides social work globally recognized and reputable. We serve student and community resource providing holistic social work and education. We believe that it's not effective to increase one skill just by acquiring formal education. So we provide effective training and consultation to generate professional generation all over the world. We distribute our services locally, nationally, and internationally to student, job seeker, job holder, and also for learner to respective campus location and distance learning platform. We are an occupational and dependable institute. IGP is one of the famous online institutes from all over the world. Our vision is education is not a business product, it's a part of our human rights. Based on our vision, we are trying to reach all corners of the world for free webinars, seminar courses, award, quiz competition, mentoring, and counseling, etc. On the other side, we are also trying to serve more than 100 PM service for free like create own portfolio, resume, builder, cover letter, motivation letter, and one knowledge platform for gathering general knowledge which can update all day. Kids learning game, website, free course, converse sites, and many, many more. We help empower you to learn to meet their aspiration and dream and become highly skilled people. We implement our training program webinar and offline online courses for youth and learner by professional trainer, speaker, and coaches. Our sessions are conducted by globally renowned professionals to develop all kinds of youth and to promote the education of their abilities and personalities. To ensure excellent and in-depth instruction, we arrange with qualified trainer, speaker, and instructor. We extended free services to more than 3 million knowledge seekers in last 3 years. We have affiliation with university and organization in several different countries. But no signing with many colleges and organizations have been accomplished. We are working to create a legendary generation of future scholars and citizens who will be accountable. We are constantly prepared to assist all knowledge seekers with valuable service. Spreading knowledge is crucial for the Institute of Global Profession. We believe that knowledge is love and life and vision. So we try to understand the needs of today's generation and we serve them with good research and practice methods. We must have a genuine concern for the learner we represent. More diversity, growth, and innovation are regard to leadership with professionalism, passion, and integrity. I remember committed to offering effective, best quality service and continual improvement so that individuals who seek information can improve their skill level and value. Before we move to the next, let me remind don't forget to share, tag, and mention your friend in the comment box. Your support is very valuable for us. Thank you. Before we move to the next, let me remind don't forget to share, tag, and mention your friend in the comment box. Your support is very valuable for us. Thank you. Moving to the next, with your continuous support, we already completed 1,391 webinars successfully. Wow. Moving to the next, with your continuous support, we already completed 1,392 webinars successfully. Wow. At present, we are going to start our 1,392 webinar, which name is Nurturing Creativity Reading in 21st Century Classroom. And today, our speaker ma'am name is Patricia Laura Arbona. She is from Argentina. Before I hand over the speech to our speaker, ma'am, also share a very little bit about her. Founder and director of Ludo Drama TEFL as a teacher, trainer, and dream teacher, independent researcher. Now, very important moment for me to invite our speaker to IGP with her presentation. Now, very important moment for me to invite our speaker to IGP with her presentation. Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Hello, good evening. It's a pleasure for me to be with you all and an honor too. And I want to say a big thanks to the Institute of Global Professionals for the invitation. Thank you very much. Okay, am I ready to start?
Okay, ma'am. The stage is yours. You can start your presentation now.
All right, thank you very much. Well, before starting talking about creativity, how to nurture creativity in the classroom, it is important to highlight the fact that we are undergoing a process of transformation in education around the world. We all know that the traditional model no longer responds to 21st century requirements. Well, it is outdated because it does not offer the students the opportunity to become active participants, and besides, rote learning is the main characteristic of this type of method. So creativity or smart thinking cannot be developed. Today, active methodologies have been implementing around the world with great success. And the main aim is to encourage students to learn by doing and to have an active participation in the process of learning. Well, of course, in this type of methodologies, creativity is central. The idea is that when we use creativity in the classroom, the students learn more comfortably, they learn more naturally. Normally, when we think of creativity, the idea of the arts comes to our minds. For example, we may think of creative people such as Da Vinci, Steve Jobs, Mozart, etc. But we are creative too. We are not famous creative people, but we are creative. And this is something that we should take into consideration, because creativity is an inherent quality of human beings. We are creative, but it is a skill that should be developed. We are creative in our daily lives. For example, when we make a decision, when we solve a problem, when we are preparing a meal and we change the recipe in order to make it tastier. But normally, this type of creativity that is present in our daily lives is not highlighted, is not seen. Why? Because we are created by nature. Even is that creativity is not as important as you may think. This means that you are thinking laterally. Ken Robinson once said that creativity requires an atmosphere in which risk-taking and experimentation should be encouraged rather than stifled. Why? Because in the traditional model, students remain seated listening to their teachers, and they do not have the opportunity to participate actively and use their creative side. It is important to make a comparison between knowledge and creativity. Knowledge is facts, information, and creativity is what we can do with that knowledge. Knowledge is a prerequisite for creativity, and it helps us to improve our creative potential. This means that from what we learn, we create. That's why it is so important to include creativity in our classrooms. This means that when students are creative, they are using their brain creatively, and at the same time, they are developing their critical thinking, their lateral thinking. In this presentation, I will share with you practical tips which will help you improve and nurture creativity in the classroom, and in this way transform the way students learn. Now, let's move on. Before starting analyzing why creativity is so important in the classroom, we can start with some trigger questions, and you can write the answers in your chat box if you can't, and my assistant may read them if possible. Can you mention words associated with creativity? The first words that come to your mind. Can you write them in your chat box? And who can read them for me, please? Is it possible? Well, okay. I can say, for example, when I think of creativity, inspiration, fantasy, talent, originality. So there are lots of words that are related to creativity. One of the first questions we need to ask, and this is food for thought, is, do you consider yourself a creative teacher? So this is something that you will have to ask again after we finish this presentation. It is important to see the difference between teaching creatively and teaching creativity. Why? Because teaching creatively means that the teacher plans her lessons in a creative way so as to make learning interesting. And teaching creativity means using different strategies to encourage students to be creative. That's the difference between the two. Of course, that in a creative classroom, both of them are used. Now, why is creativity vital? Well, creativity is vital because it helps us grow. It opens our minds. It expands our horizons. Something very important we need to do if we want to be creative is to step outside the comfort zone. The comfort zone is the great enemy of creativity, because in the creative zone, change is not present. Everything is always the same. People who are or who remain in the comfort zone always have responses to the same type of stimuli. So there is no growth. For this reason, it is important to encourage creativity in the classroom when students are young. From the moment they start school, creativity should be present. Well, when you step outside the comfort zone, when you leave it because you consider that that place is not comfortable any longer, you start taking risks, you face challenges. So when teachers do this, they become mold breakers. And when they break the mold, this means that they introduce original ideas into the classroom, which are completely different from the ones that may be present. That may be present. Something is happening to my PC. Wait a minute. Sorry, it got disconnected. Well, I was saying that they introduced original ideas which are completely different from the ones that are present in a conventional classroom. And of course, it is a way of enhancing learning. Well, creativity motivates students to learn. This means that creativity is the heart of a motivated classroom. The students are intrinsically motivated. This means that they do not need external rewards, because often teachers say, well, if you pay attention now, you won't have extra work. So students pay attention not because they are interested in what they are doing. They pay attention because they do not want to have extra work. So this is eccentric motivation. And we should always encourage students to be intrinsically motivated, because it is the best way of learning. Remember that Piaget once said, we should teach our students to love what they learn. For this reason, we need to be passionate and we need to show our passion for teaching. So in this way, they get motivated more easily. Well, creativity improves focus and attention in the classroom. Why? Because when the students are being creative, when creativity is flowing in the classroom, well, they feel energized, they feel focused and awake. Creativity promotes a healthy brain. This means that the brain is actively working during the whole process. Why? Because the students are busy working, trying to find the best ideas. Well, multiple intelligences foster creativity. You know that Howard Gardner has distinguished 8 different intelligences, and each human being contains these 8 intelligences. What is different is the way they are combined. So it is our responsibility as a teacher to encourage students to unleash the potential they bring to class and use it in the process of learning. Gardner has said that it is not just about how smart you are, but how you are smart. And this is what we need to do in the classroom. Well, students develop a creative mindset. This means that they are curious, perceptive, inquisitive. So this is the type of the students we are having at the moment. We have a type of student that is fond of learning. And besides, they want to experiment, they want to explore knowledge. So they do not want to remain seated listening to the teacher. That belongs to the past. Well, there is freedom of expression, because as the students are active participants, they can express their ideas and thoughts when they are engaged in different creative activities. In this way, they can show how creative they can be. Creativity promotes deep and real-world learning. Why? Because students learn by doing. They have direct experience. So learning becomes deeper and more significant. And at the same time, learning becomes meaningful because the students connect what they live with what they learn. That is to say that they have experiential learning. Well, creativity is a transversal skill. That's why it is vital, because it can be used in any situation in our lives. It is not restricted to any particular job or academic knowledge. It promotes the development of physical and emotional, the development of physical movements and emotions. For example, in the case of physical development, this is clearly noticeable when little children are using creativity they develop their motor skills, coordination, and they learn how to control their bodies. And, well, emotions are always present when we are being creative, because we enjoy being creative, because creativity produces positive emotions. For example, when children learn the parts of the body, instead of giving them activities in which they have to complete blanks with the different parts, Well, you can tell them, okay, create, give them some clay, and they can do this as homework, and they create their own monster. They give it a name, and they start using it to describe the different parts of the monster. But the monster does not have the eyes like placed on the face, for example. The idea is to create a monster with, for example, arms at the back, an eye in a hand. So this is being creative. So then the students will discover how creative they can be, producing a monster in which they do not follow the patterns present in a human brain. So they are creative, and they will try hard to make it as creative as possible. This is creativity. Okay, it also promotes social development. Why? Because students work together. And when students work together, they develop intrapersonal and interpersonal skills. They also develop empathy, responsibility. They become better communicators because they are sharing all this when they are working together. Okay, let's move on. But of course, there are certain barriers to creativity. The first one is the traditional method of teaching and learning. You know that we are still having this type of model, as I said before, and we know that it is obsolete. Why? Because it was great when it was used with a different type of students many years ago. But today, we know that learning, so research indicates that students do not learn by repeating like a parrot. They learn by doing. That's why this traditional method is no longer suitable. What the students are asking at the moment, and they are complaining because they do not want to be seated most of the time in the classroom. The students do not want classes which are teacher dominant. For this reason, we are in this period of transformation, and we are trying to replace this model of education with active methodologies in which the students learn by doing. They have hands-on learning. Well, the classroom environment is very important. We cannot start a class saying, okay, good morning, sit down, open your books. What is important here is that you need to concentrate on this activity because it will be part of the test. Oh my God, starting a class like this is really terrible. Why? Well, I used to have this type of classes when I was young. My daughters experienced the same, and this is still present nowadays. We should remember that learning is a supreme act, and the students need to be prepared for this moment, because the students go to school to learn. But when the environment is not suitable, no learning can take place. That's why it is our responsibility to create an atmosphere which is safe and threatening, warm, which invites the students to learn. And this is closely related to student engagement. In a classroom atmosphere in which the students experience some sort of threat or an atmosphere that is not friendly, the students won't get engaged. They get engaged when they pay attention, but attention is not asked. Normally we ask for attention. Attention is gained. This means that we should encourage the students to focus. Why? Because when they pay attention, they become motivated. When they are motivated, they are curious. And curiosity means that they are eager to learn. As simple as that. Well, another important barrier, sorry, is when the students do not think proactively. When the brain is not stimulated with creative ideas, with creative strategies, thinking becomes automatic, it becomes unproductive. That's why in a creative classroom, students become proactive because the brain is actively working in the process of learning. And in this way, the students are developing lateral thinking. Well, predictable classes are a great enemy. This means that every single class is the same. This is what happens in the traditional model. Classes are rigid, are structured, and today the students have the opportunity to see the difference between teachers. There are teachers who are still traditional and teachers who are already introducing innovation. So, of course, that they prefer those teachers who invite the students to participate eagerly. Sorry. Well, giving too many worksheets, you know that lots of worksheets are not effective. Why? Because students are mechanically learning a particular grammar structure or vocabulary. And besides, there is no connection with reality. That new content that is learned in worksheets is not normally applied in a real life situation. So they remember that mechanically, and it is practically forgotten after days because it is not applied. So you should remember that learning that is not applied is learning that is not internalized. That's why practice is very important in the classroom. The students are given the opportunity to apply what they learn in real life situations. So practical utility is crucial. Well, another enemy is a fixed mindset. Of course, this is the opposite of a growth mindset. When you have a fixed mindset, you are in the comfort zone. You are not interested in change. You are comfortable in the way you face life. So there is no need to introduce any modification. Well, this is a big mistake because we are living in a fast growing world, and for this reason need to be prepared for the world they live in. We are constantly changing. The world is constantly changing, so we cannot stop changing. We need to evolve permanently. Another problem is fear of failure. What happens when students feel fear? They get blocked and they cannot learn properly. So instead of running away from failure, we need to encourage them to understand that fear is a possibility of learning, is a possibility of progress. That's why mistakes should be present in the classroom. Okay? Well, another oh, sorry. Wait a minute. Linear teaching, for example, is another problem. This is typical of a traditional classroom. In a traditional classroom, contents are presented in a fixed way, and students do not have the opportunity to have different options. So learning becomes uniform, it becomes automatic. So these are barriers that should be banished in the classroom if we want creativity to flow in our classrooms. All right. Now, what are the habits of a creative teacher? Well, they are creative outside teaching, of course. We have said that in our daily lives, we are creative. And teachers may be good at dancing, acting, painting, singing. So they can include these talents. This is what they normally do. But it is a way of enhancing the process of teaching and learning. They are not restricted to their professional lives. They are present everywhere, as I said before. They don't let standards stop them. Although we are part of a traditional system and we have to follow regulations, we can be creative. In fact, creative teachers are already introducing creativity, although we belong to this system, to this traditional system. The idea is that gradually we will introduce active methodologies, and this implementation will become generalized. Well, they teach the same concept in multiple ways. This is very important, and this means that when explanations are repeated, they should be presented in different ways. If students don't understand and teachers explain the same content in the same way, the students won't be able to understand again. So different contents should be presented in multiple ways. Multisensory learning is very interesting because it gives students the opportunity to use their senses. That is, all the senses are alert, and they can learn a content orally, visually, kinesthetically. So this means that they can learn using their own potential. And this is particularly beneficial for students with special needs. Another important habit is that teachers organize course material in a cognitively advantageous way. In this case, we shouldn't remember didactic transposition. This means that what we do is to adapt knowledge to make it teachable, right? Normally, we use 3 different processes in order to help the students understand information better. The first step is activating. In this process, the students activate material and they relate new information with what they already learned. The second process is processing. This means that the students process the information, selecting, making questions, comparing. So in this way, they can understand and internalize the information better. And the third process is consolidation, when the students apply what they learn in a real life situation. And there, when this process is present, the information is fixed. Learning becomes meaningful. Well, creative teachers build a creative community. Creative teachers are always connected to the world and to the needs of the students. That's why they do not work individually. They need to work together. They need to create a community. Why? Because when they are together, they share their strategies, their lesson plans, um, their teaching practices, um, their students' learning, and in this way they enrich one another and learn together. At the same time, when they get together, they reflect on their teaching and learning, and this is very important because there they can discover what works and what doesn't work. And in this way, they improve their teaching. All right. They are good listeners. This is very important. It is our responsibility to listen to our students carefully. When we are good listeners, we are good communicators. And when we are good communicators, the students become more confident and they are willing to participate. Why? Because they feel that we are supportive, we are approachable. Well, they use questions effectively. This means that they think of the type of questions that may ignite creativity. There are two types of questions, open and closed. Both of them are usually present in the classroom, but in the traditional model, closed questions are much more common than open questions. Open questions, when students are asked open questions, everybody shares the same answer. For example, I might ask you, who wrote Hamlet? And everybody will say Shakespeare. But open questions give the students the opportunity to think creatively, to think critically, right? For example, in a literature class, you may ask, what would have happened if Edgar Allan Poe had written Hamlet, for example? So it would be a completely different work. Well, these are questions that make students think. Of course, that you need to adapt these open questions to the level of the students. But it's an excellent way of spurring creativity in the classroom. Well, they embrace diversity. This means that they value differences and they are encouraged. This means that the one-size-fits-all model is not present in this classroom because they are connected, as I said before, to the needs of the students. And of course, they promote education transformation. We should remember that we are agents of change, and students at university who are studying to become teachers are also agents of change. Why? Because in the future, when they graduate, they will have their own groups of students and they will have to implement these active methodologies that are already being used around the world. What we are doing as innovative teachers and working on this transformation is to generalize the use of this type of active methodologies. So as agents of change, we need to promote this transformation and show our students the type of learning that they need. In fact, they are asking a different type of learning. And through this type of methodologies, the students feel much more comfortable because they can experiment with what they are learning. Okay. How to foster creativity? Well, first of all, as I said before, you need to step outside the comfort zone and to think of creativity as a skill. And when the students discover creativity, they start to nurture it, that potential they bring to class. Because remember that our mission is to encourage students to use that potential in the process of learning. That's why it is so important to discover the type of intelligences they bring to class. So this is one of the first steps that should be taken when we start working with a new group of students at the beginning of the year. what type of students are we having at the moment? In order to plan our lessons, not according to the contents we have to cover during the year, but according to the type of students I'm having in a particular course. Why? Because normally we prepare the same type of activities for group A and B. And then we discover that one group works better than the other. But this does not mean that the group which was not successful is weaker than the other. No, it is our mistake because we have not selected the appropriate strategies to give the students what they need. For example, there are groups in which they need different types of activities that may be related to their own skills or abilities. For example, there are students who are visual, others are kinesthetic. Although we have a variety of students, we can create activities that will help all students in my class be successful. It may take more time, but the results will be completely different. Okay. Here we need to mention Bloom's taxonomy. According to this taxonomy, creating is the highest order of thinking. This means that it occupies a leading position, right? But before getting to this cognitive skill, if we follow this taxonomy, the students should start remembering, then understanding, and go on till they get to creating. But super creative teachers tend to flip the taxonomy and start using creativity the moment students start learning. And this is great because the students become creative more quickly and they enjoy creativity earlier. And this is a great idea. We foster creativity when it becomes of teaching and learning. Why? Because teaching and learning form a binomial. They cannot be separated. So when we are creative in our teaching, we are encouraging our students to be creative in their learning. Well, curiosity, imagination, and surprise are components that are always present in a creative classroom. You know that students, but people, human beings are curious by nature, and children are curious. And an element of surprise is very useful in a creative classroom. For example, you may leave a mysterious question on the board or a mysterious object on the desk during the break, and immediately when the students discover this mysterious word or question on the board or the object, they become curious immediately and they want to know about this mystery. So they are already waiting for the teacher to tell them what it is about. So the students are already intrinsically motivated. So we can start the class very comfortably because the students are already engaged. Isn't it great? And of course, they unleash their imagination because this mysterious question or object will encourage them to use their creative side. Well, we foster creativity when mistakes are welcome in the classroom. Mistakes are part of the process. In the traditional model, mistakes are bad, and the student has a sharp distinction between what is right and what is wrong. But when we introduce creativity in these active methodologies that we are using, mistakes are part of the process because they are always teaching us, and the students do not feel fear because they know that if they commit mistakes, they will be punished. This means that the classroom becomes a laboratory. where the students experiment with language. There is a lot of trial and error. And in this type of laboratory, the teacher becomes a discoverer of talents and students explorers of knowledge. Isn't it amazing? Okay. Lectures are replaced with interactions. Students are encouraged to make questions, are encouraged to be inquisitive. For this, we need to create a culture of questioning. Remember, students do not learn by answering, they learn by asking. In the traditional model, the students are used to answering questions. So answers do not lead to knowledge. Questions lead to knowledge. Well, arts integration is very important in a creative classroom because, as we said before, whenever we think of the arts, we think of creativity. So students feel more comfortable and their learning is enhanced when drama, painting, music are included in the classroom. Well, the use of multidisciplinary lessons is also a way of fostering creativity. You know that in the traditional model, subjects appear in different boxes and they are not usually related. When we propose this type of lessons, the students can connect information because each subject gives them information because they are working on one particular topic. Let's say that they are working with water. They have to prepare a project with water. And the type of lesson that we are using is project-based learning. The students learn using this type of methodology. Why? Because they are studying water and they get information from chemistry, from biology, from geography, and in this way they have an integral understanding of water in our lives, in the world. In the traditional model, water is studied separately, and the students usually cannot connect information, cannot connect the dots. That's why when they finally prepare a project or a work on water in this case, they use their creativity because they have a better idea of the meaning of water in the world. So creativity is working there because they are solving a problem, they are making a decision. Whatever is included in this type of lesson, creativity spices up. Okay. Well, classroom layout is very important. You know that orderly rows are not productive. That's why students need to be seated in a horseshoe or in a circle or in groups. This facilitates learning. I always say that silence is not healthy in a classroom because when silence is dominant, this means that the class is teacher-centered. For this reason, I concentrate on noise. Noise, there are two types of noise. That noise that is present when students misbehave because they are not interested in what the teacher is saying or the content that she's explaining to them. But there is another noise that is good, and it is present when the students are working in groups and they are busy trying to solve a problem or doing a particular task in which creativity is flowing. Well, whenever we use creativity, students work cooperatively. Why? Because the activities are team building. When the students work cooperatively, they have the opportunity to develop autonomy. Why? Because first they work together. According to psychology, there are two stages. In the first stage, the students get together, they share information, and they help one another, and they build a sort of framework as a support. But gradually, as they become more confident, they no longer need this support, and they are in the process of becoming autonomous. This means that they are able to solve problems by themselves. And of course, we foster creativity when we encourage our students to use metacognition. Metacognition is a very valuable tool that is not as present as it should be in our classrooms. Remember that teachers should use metacognition to reflect on their own teaching, and students should also develop metacognitive thinking to discover their weaknesses and their strengths. In this way, they will be able to improve their learning, and they will become agents of their own learning too. Okay. What are the activities that we can use in order to increase creativity? Well, there are lots of activity, and I have just considered some of them. Creative play. You know that play is the natural way of learning. Play and creativity form a binomial. They are inseparable. What type of games? Well, board games, quiz games, video games. As regards physical games, hopscotch, scavenger, and treasure hunt. And as regards activities, kinesthetic, in which there is we use our bodies, cooking, growing plants, outdoor learning, charades. Charades is an activity in which the students express meaning without words. This is one of the activities proposed by drama, in which the students become very creative because they are not allowed to use words, just their bodies to express meaning. Well, total physical response activities are also very important activities to create creativity. Do songs, action songs, air drawing. For young children, air drawing is a very nice activity. Well, the arts and the craft should be present. Drama, dance, music are activities that promote movement. And remember that learning is movement. Learning is action. The students remember, and I insisted on this, when students remain seated more than usual, they get uneasy because they need movement. That's why when the bell rings, they run out of the classroom because they want to use that energy that was not used during the class. Well, creative writing and creative drawing are also very important because we may ask our students to be creative in a composition. Okay. For example, describe what you've done today or what you experience in your trip in a creative way. If they are creative, they will write a beautiful work. But according to research, drawing is much more powerful than writing and reading. Why? Because when students draw, there are three different processes that are being performed. Semantically, the students interpret drawing semantically, kinesthetically, and intellectually. That's why when students use drawing, they can be very creative. And drawing is normally present at lower levels, and then it is forgotten. The same happens with play. Play should be kept at all levels. Being an adolescent or an adult is not an indicator that play should not be used. No. Why? Because we need to give older students the opportunity to be creative through play and through drawing. Okay. I have brought some activities for you that you can use with your students. For example, imagination workout. This is abstract thinking, and you prepare handouts, and the instruction is, okay, you have to create a picture out of these shapes. And, well, unique. The results are really great because sometimes we don't think how creative our students can be. But when you start using it in the classroom, it is really surprising how they can work when they feel that it is one of the instruments they can use to improve their process of learning. For example, this one can be a stick figure. For me, this one is a hamburger. This is just one possibility. But when you collect the workouts and you see the different pictures, really, it is there when you can see how creative they can be. As a further activity, you can tell the students to select some of the pictures they have created and produce a story out of them. Well, the next one, for this particular creative class, I use the Fantastic Binomial. The Fantastic Binomial belongs to Gianni Rodari. He's an Italian journalist and writer who wrote The Grammar of Fantasy. It is very interesting, and I advise you to read it. Well, he's very famous around the world because of the books he wrote for children, in which he encourages creativity. Well, the Fantastic Binomial is very simple. You have to relate two words which have nothing in common. For example, an ant and a spaceship. You can prepare cards with pairs of words with these binomials, or with higher levels. You can discuss the possibilities with your students. So then you tell them, in what way do you think that an ant and spaceship can be related? For younger children, everything depends on the knowledge of the language they have. So for lower students, for lower levels, you can tell them, okay, create a sentence. For students with a better command of the language, well, okay, create a short story. In what way can pepper and football be related, or a cloud and a bee? So you see that creativity in this case is really waiting to be used. Rodari also uses stories, and in the case of salad of stories, the teacher considers stories the students already know. And what the students need to do is to take parts of different stories, for example, Little Red Riding Hood, Cinderella, and Snow White, and create a new one. You can see how creative they can be. Or upside down fairy tales. For example, Snow White didn't meet the dwarfs. She met a group of giants, for example. Little Red Riding Hood did not visit Grandma. Who does she visit? Okay, same story, different meaning. The story they know, what they do is to change the ending, to add a character, to change the ending to change the ending, taking out a character. So there are lots of possibilities, and that's why creativity is in action. And what I have brought for you today is the Story Dice Teller. And well, I've got it. You can buy it on the net or in a toy shop. Well, it contains 6 dice. They are here. And it is very simple. The students have to create a story after dicing, after having the dice on the floor or on the table, because the students remember that it is better if little children sit on the floor. What they have to do is to create a story with for example here, with the icons facing up. You can use 3 or the 6 of them. This depends on the level of the student. So you see how creativity is working very actively in this type of grades. So it's really amazing. I use it even with trainee teachers, children, adolescents, adults, and with teachers with students who want to become teachers. So, in conclusion, imagination is more important than knowledge. This means that knowledge is useless without creativity. Metaphorically speaking, knowledge is the paint, and creativity is the masterpiece. I love it. I love it. We should remember that creativity is a central resource in every society. Why? Because it allows for creative visions. Remember that creativity is closely related to progress. For this reason, we need to prepare our students for this unpredictable world. So my final advice is give creativity a try and enjoy together with your students the magic of creativity. Thank you very much. So now I'm ready to listen to your questions. So I will stop sharing my presentation. Yes. Oh, okay. Oh, I don't know how to stop it. Who can help me? Wow. I want, there, all right, thank you. I couldn't do it myself. Well, I'm ready to ask for your question. Any questions?
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your rich content presentation, which can impact our knowledge seeker surely. After your presentation, I hope our knowledge seeker can learn something new, which was our only intention. Learn and grow together, IGP knowledge seeker. Once again, thank you so much, dear ma'am, for your presentation. Now, ma'am, it's time for our question answer session, which is the one more valuable part of our regular webinar. Honorable ma'am, please stay with us. After a short video, we will be back in our session part 2, which is the question answer part. Dear IGP knowledge seeker, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have a webinar certification and online quiz competition. Dear IGP knowledge seeker, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have a webinar certification and online quiz competition. Dear IGP knowledge seeker, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have a webinar certification and online quiz competition. Dear IGP knowledge seeker, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have a webinar certification and online quiz competition.
Will you read the questions? Are there any questions?
No, ma'am, actually no more questions from our participants. So I think after your wonderful presentation, our participant can understand the topic very clearly. That's why no questions from our participants. So once again, thank you so much, ma'am, for your time in IGP. We have learned a lot from you with new topic. It will add
Okay.
some value to our day-to-day activity along with our academic and professional growth. Honorable ma'am, hope to see you again with a new topic and a new date. Thank you, ma'am. Take care.
All right. Thank you for the invitation. It has been a pleasure for me to have this presentation. Hope it will be useful. Bye-bye.
Bye, ma'am. Honorable ma'am. IGP knowledge seeker stand for the webinar certification process, the most attractive and powerful part of our regular webinar. After a short video, we will start our webinar certification. After webinar certification, we have an online quiz competition and quiz certification. IGP knowledge seeker stand for the webinar certification process, the most attractive and powerful part of our regular webinar. After a short video, we will start our webinar certification. After webinar certification, we have an online quiz competition and quiz certification. Our some technical problem, we cannot share our certificate code. We provide our certificate code in a short time. Thank you. Today, our some technical problem, we cannot provide our certificate code. We provide our certificate code in a short time. Thank you. Dear IGP Knowledge Seeker, it's time for the most energetic part of this webinar, which is an online quiz competition, which is our regular webinar activity. Now, time for the online quiz competition. To join the online quiz competition properly, please follow my instructions carefully. Now, time for the online quiz competition. To join the online quiz competition properly, please follow my instruction carefully. Go to www.slido.com and find today's quiz or scan this QR code for direct joining. Quiz code is Global IGP. After a short video, we will start our quiz session. Please join in Slido with the code and the code is Global IGP. Please join in Slido with the code and the code is Global IGP. Please join in Slido with the code and the code is Global IGP. Please join in Slido with the code and the code is Global IGP. Please join in Slido with the code and the code is Global IGP. With 34 people, we are going to start our quiz session right now. Our first question is the 4 C's needed to be successful in the 21st century are creativity, critical thinking, and option 1 community and culture, diversity, option 2 collaboration and communication. Option 2 is the right answer and 87% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Kaushik is holding the first position. Our second question is, in the 21st century classroom, the 4 C's include communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. Option 1 true, option 2 false. Option 1 is the right answer and 100% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Kaushik is holding the first position. Our third question is, why is creativity important in learning 21st century skills? Option 1, because every student will be an artist or writer. Option 2, it teaches students to look at a problem from multiple perspectives. Option 2 is the right answer and 94% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Kaushik is holding the first position. Our fourth question is, Creativity in the common core of 21st century education means option 1, students are able to do arts creativity. Option 2, students are able to think outside the box in creative manner. Option 2 is the right answer, and 97% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Kaushik is holding the first position. Our fifth question is creativity and innovation can make you rich in 21st century. Option 1 true, option 2 false. Option 1 true is the right answer, and 82% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Rina is holding the first position. Our sixth question is four C's in 21st century skill are creativity, collaboration, communication, and option 1 challenging, option 2 critical thinking. Option 2 is the right answer, and 97% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Rina is holding the first position. Our seventh question is be proficient in 21st century skill. Option 1 critical thinking, creativity, communication, and collaboration. Option 1 honor, option 2 scholars. Option 2 is the right answer, and 52% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Leah is holding the first position. Our eighth question is the five C's in 21st century education are communication, critical thinking, creativity, choice, and option 1 coaching, option 2 collaboration. Option 2 is the right answer, and 100% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Leah is holding the first position. Our ninth question is common path of nurturing the 21st century skills is to foster fun, play, and dash in the classroom. Option 1 creativity, option 2 critical thinking. Option 1 is the right answer, and 78% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Leah is holding the first position. Our last and final question of the evening session is the four C's in 21st century learning are communicated, command, critical thinking, and creativity. Option 1 true, option 2 false. Option 2 false is the right answer. 76% people are right here. Congratulations to our online quiz competition winner, top 10. Congratulations again. Slido will take a few minutes for finalizing the result, and after that, we will issue our online quiz competence certificate on our official Facebook page and group Institute of Global Professional. Congratulations to our online quiz competition winner, top 10. Congratulations again. Slido will take a few minutes for finalizing the result, and after that, we will issue our online quiz competence certificate on our official Facebook page and group Institute of Global Professional. Congratulations to our online quiz competition winner, top 10. Congratulations again. Slido will take a few minutes for finalizing the result, and after that, we will issue our online quiz competence certificate on our official Facebook page and group Institute of Global Professional. At the end of our session, we can say properly feed your skill, never stop learning, cause life never stop teaching us. Be happy and stay safe. See you again and again. We want your participation in every program. If you want to live a happy life, tie it to a goal, not to people or things. Albert Einstein. Before I say or hit the end like button, once again, thank you so much for active participation as always. See you again in the next session. Thank you.